So hi everyone and welcome to episode 2 of Talking Tottenham here on the East Terrace channel, or if you're watching on my website, welcome as well. In today's episode I'm going to be talking about Spurs and their first 2 pre-season friendlies. Of course we had the win against PSG on Sunday morning, I think it was, and the defeat to Roma last night in New York. And as well as that I'm going to be talking about Levy's response to why the club are so quiet in the transfer window. Obviously the chairman come out with some very interesting comments to defend himself last night. I'll be going through them, just giving a bit of comment on that as well. So just before we get started, just a little reminder that I am on Twitter if you want to interact with me. My handle on there is at EastTerrace00, and you can also keep up to date with all things Spurs on my website which I run, which is www.eastterrace.net. All support is really appreciated. Any shares on my Twitter or anything like that, really appreciate it, so thank you. So in the early hours of Sunday morning, the club kicked off their pre-season tour of the USA with an impressive 4-2 victory over the French giants PSG. Pochettino went with a mixture of youth, with some regular starters and fringe players also picked in the first half. I know that Kyle Walker-Peters and Cameron Carter-Vickers, 2 of the youth team lads, were picked in the back 4 in the first 45 minutes. Unfortunately, it wasn't the most impressive performance from Kyle Walker-Peters, unfortunately. You could argue he was caught out for both of the PSG goals, especially the second one, where he was pushed up far too high and the spacing behind him was exploited. Ultimately led to a goal. Christian Eriksen and Eric Dyer scored the goals in the first half for the club, with Eriksen's goal in particular being the highlight of the game. I don't know if any of you have watched the pre-season highlights so far, but that goal, he picked it up about 30 yards out, run inside a little bit and just banged it straight into the top corner. It was a really, really good goal. Dyer's, well, it wasn't so good. He basically just chased down a loose ball. The PSG keeper went to go and clear it. Dyer stuck his foot out and it bounced straight onto Dyer's foot and trickled in. I'm sure he'll take it, but wouldn't make most goals of the season, put it that way. Anyway, heading into half-time, it was 2-2. Pochettino made quite a few changes at half-time. Harry Kane, Toby Alderweireld and Dele Alli took to the field to play their first minutes of the summer. And you could see straight away that Spurs stepped it up a gear. The tempo, the performance in general was much, much better, and Alderweireld made it 3-2 with a really good long-range effort actually, which beat the keeper, and then Kane late on making it 4-2 with a penalty which he put all of his force behind it. He absolutely smacked it into the back of the net, which sealed the win. So got off to a very good start in pre-season. I know that Pochettino was pleased with how the players did. With pre-season it's tricky because no one really cares about the results. It's all about the performances, getting your fitness up to a certain level, maybe getting new players involved, but obviously that's not going to be a problem for Spurs just now. But all the other aspects of the game I think Pochettino was pretty pleased with, which was good. Anyway, fast forward to last night, Tuesday night, and Spurs travelled to the Red Bull Arena in New York to face Italian giants Roma. This game and the PSG game were both played in the International Champions Cup, which is the same tournament which Real Madrid and all the other European heavyweights are over in America to play in as well. So it's quite a prestigious tournament, and for Spurs to be involved, it's obviously a sign of how far we're coming. It seems to be going pretty well, to be honest. I know that a couple of people have been watching it online, and according to social media it seems to be quite popular over there, which is good. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Just going back to the Roma game, Pochettino opted to go for what looked like a 3-4-2-1 formation in the first half, something slightly different to what he's tried in the Premier League last year. Kane spearheaded it up front with Ali and Josh Onoma, another one of the promising youth players in behind. The game also saw Kyle Walker-Peters and Cameron Carter-Vickers make the starting 11, just like they did on Sunday night as well. And thankfully, they managed to get on a lot better despite the result. Spurs ended up losing the game 3-2 against a Roma side which featured the Spurs legend Federico Fazio. Anyone remember him? We signed him from Sevilla when he won back-to-back Europa Leagues. Everyone thought he was going to be the new Ledley King. and no, didn't really work out, to be honest. So he's gone to Roma. I think he's made that move permanent this year, which broke so many Spurs hearts, I know. But both sides had chances in the first half, but it was Roma who took the lead with a penalty that was given for a Carter Vickers handball. It did look like a tough decision on the youngster at the time when you saw it, and looking at the replay, he clearly had his hands behind his body when contact was made. Spurs up the tempo after the Roma penalty and missed several chances to equalise, with Kane and Ali both having notable chances, and I think Kane hit the crossbar in the first half as well. I know that one Spurs player definitely did it at the crossbar, but I'm not sure which one it was. I think it was Kane. Anyway, much like he did in the first game, Pochettino made a number of changes at half-time and gave several youngsters a chance to impress during the second half, with Tashan Oakley-Booth and Anthony Giorgio both impressing when they came on as subs. I know that Anthony Giorgio in particular was very, very impressive. A lot of people on Twitter, fellow people that I follow that are Spurs fans and people that were at the game were raging about Anthony Giorgio. So could he be the next one off the Pochettino production line? Well, I mean, the way he played last night, he's got that fearless look about him. He's got a little bit, he's got the pace, he's got the close control. Could definitely be a dark horse for the Spurs squad this season. We'll see what happens there. Spurs had a blatant penalty shout for a foul on Kane in the second half turned down, and it really was a stonewall penalty. I'm not just saying that with a Spurs bias, but Kane had the legs taken away from him, underneath him, and the ref just played on. It was a strange decision. And then, wouldn't you know it, Roma went up the other end and went 2-0 up. It's incredible, really. Anyway, moving on throughout the game, time ticking down to the final whistle, Spurs managed to find a way back into the game to make it 2-2, amazingly. The first goal was with Winks tapping in from a short distance to make it 2-1 after 87 minutes. And then good old Vincent Janssen made it 2-2. He got in front of his defender at the front post. Some great wing play by, I think it was George Kevin Nkudu. Whipped it in. He managed to get in front of his man and tapped it in. 2-2. Brilliant. Looks as if we managed to get ourselves a draw. But there's one last twist to come, with Roma scoring a 92nd minute winner, which was a bit of a sickener. But, like I say, pre-season results aren't too important, to be honest. It's all about the performances. And Pochettino said this after the game as well when he was asked about it. He declared himself happy with the way the team played and was also pleased with the fitness levels showed by the players during the game. He also praised the performances of Tashan Oakley-Booth and Anthony Giorgio, who come on, and mentioned the fact that we played much better than Roma for the whole 90 minutes, which I think was quite clear in spells. We were very, very impressive, even though it is so early into the season. And that we were just unlucky with the final result, really. Obviously, when you go on a pre-season tour, getting into that winning habit would be good. Obviously the excitement after the PSG game was quite obvious, but obviously the results only matter when we hit August and then the Premier League kicks back in. That's what all of this preparation's for now. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully we can build towards getting a good start with Newcastle away. Anyway, moving on to something interesting which I read last night. This is the Daniel Levy news. Basically, he's come out and he's defended the lack of transfer activity at the club this summer, claiming that the spending by other Premier League clubs is just unsustainable. As most of you know, more than £850 million has been spent by other Premier League sides so far this summer. But as all of you know, we haven't made a single signing yet. I think that's been made very, very clear in my last Talking Tottenham episode. Obviously the frustration around the club with regards to lack of signings. Especially when Kyle Walker got sold on and we haven't adequately replaced him yet. It is a bit of a worry, but obviously when asked why the club haven't been spending the Walker money or any money at all, Levy come out and he released a statement and he said that we've got a duty to manage this club appropriately. Some of the activity that is going on at the moment is just impossible for it to be sustainable. A club spending £200 million more than they're earning, eventually it will catch up on you, and you can't keep doing that. So, obviously I'm pretty sure that most of us know who he's referring to there. A club spending 200 million more than what they've got. Maybe Man City, Man United, who knows? But he's having a dig at someone there. And to be honest, I've got to agree with what he says there. To be honest, with the club paying for a new ground, the finances are tighter than ever. And to be honest, I do agree with him that being careful with the finances, especially when you've got a coach who has worked wonders with a relatively small budget. We can't go spending what we don't have. The good times will come back in regards to spending all the money, but Moussa Sissoko last year, our fingers got burnt, and we've just got to be careful with with what money we're spending and who we're spending it on. So there's no doubt that the club has got money, and I completely understand the frustration of some fans, that are kind of, not letting the club have it, but they're worried about the lack of activity, because I'm in that camp that we get the players in early and we bed them in. But obviously we'll see how it goes, and we'll just have to see what the club have got planned towards the end of the window. I saw that Koeman come out again today and said that Ross Barkley is 100% leaving this summer. So I'm sure that's going to be the one that will eventually go through, but it's all a case of how good Mr. Levy's negotiating plans are, We'll see. Anyway, that's the end of today's Talking Tottenham episode. As always, any feedback or advice that you've got to make these better is always appreciated. I understand that the audio wasn't too great on the last one, so I've gone out and I've bought myself a microphone. So hopefully you can notice the improvement in the quality this week. I'm going to continue to improve. Obviously, if you're not following me on Twitter, be sure to do so at EastTerrace00, and check out my website www.eastterrace.net. Obviously all the ongoings at the club will be on there every day, every week. And I'll speak to you next time. I'm probably going to do another podcast, an audio series. I'm probably going to do another episode after the weekend game. I believe that we've got Manchester City in a pre-season friendly on Saturday or Sunday. So I'll watch that one and do a roundup then at some point of the weekend. But until then, have a good week, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.